Trafalgar Law's Devil Fruit Awakening is arguably one of the greatest power-ups in One Piece history. However, this video will not focus on gauging how powerful Law is. For that, you should go watch my other video, which breaks down the power-up Law had on Onigashima. Instead, this video will look at how Law's childhood and experiences before Wano could have led to his awakening. To get the most out of this video, you should consume the subscribe fruit and see if you yourself can awaken it. Devil Fruit Awakening is still a fairly mysterious part of the One Piece story. While there are hundreds of Devil Fruit users in the manga, only 13 of them have been confirmed to be awakened. We have also yet to see a Logia type awaken in the story. For the actual process of awakening, the only hint we have comes from Kaido, who says that awakening happens when the user's mind catches up to their body. While a vague statement, one can still make some interpretations based on Kaido's words. The idea of there being a mental aspect to awakening is worth addressing. When Luffy was in the process of unlocking his awakening, he was already starting to use his fruit in a way that shouldn't be possible for Rubber. In that sense, the mental aspect could in some ways be connected to the user's creativity. Another idea proposed in the comments of my last video is that Law, after completing his goal of taking down Doflamingo and realizing why Corazon saved him, had a mental epiphany that led to him awakening. A caveat to this is that Luffy during Wano did not have to go through a similar mental change to achieve his awakening. There are however two things that could explain this. First is that, according to Shaka during the Egghead arc, Zoan-type devil fruits are especially hard to awaken. This statement could somewhat explain why none of the Beast Pirates had achieved awakening, for example. The second is that the Gorosei imply that the Nika fruit specifically is even harder to awaken, as Luffy is the first person to do it in centuries. It's possible that Luffy already had his mental epiphany after Ace died in Marineford, and that Luffy has been in the process of awakening his fruit ever since. It simply took him that long because of the Nika fruit's abnormal nature. This idea would be supported by the fact that Gear Fort, which Luffy invented during the time skip, already had some characteristics of awakening. In both Bound Man and Snake Man, Luffy was already able to bend the trajectory of his attacks before the Wano arc. In Snake Man, Luffy's hair also changed, as it does in Gear 5. All forms of Gear 4 also conjure smoke rings around Luffy's body, which have only ever been seen in successful Zoan awakenings. Alternatively, it could be that Luffy had his mental realization in the moment when Kaido seemingly killed him on the rooftop. It is still very hard to say what exactly happened in this scene or what Luffy did to return, yet we have in the past seen other characters return from clinical death with their Devil Fruit abilities. Luffy's personality is also notably different in Gear 5 compared to how it normally is, perhaps tying into what Shaka said about Zoan awakenings. In regards to Trafalgar Law, it was never shown how or when he unlocked his awakening. It can be speculated though that it happened sometime in the weeks between the Dressrosa arc and the Onigashima raid. If the events of Dressrosa truly made Law's mind be ready for awakening, an additional reason for Law unlocking this power could be desperation. After destroying Kaido's smile trade with Doflamingo, Law was set on a collision course with the Emperor. Law also had his new goal of finding out the truth behind the Will of D, which would involve gathering the road poneglyphs and going to Laugh Tale. He also discovered on Zou that two of the road poneglyphs were in fact in possession of the Yonko. Law likely realized that he would have to face the strongest pirates in the world soon and had to upgrade his combat ability to be able to fight such monsters. Law had also just witnessed Doflamingo's Devil Fruit awakening on Dressrosa and could have seen it as the next step to make himself more powerful. The final thing that could have motivated Law to awaken is his rivalry with Luffy. While Law is grateful to Luffy for having beaten Doflamingo, the two still share the competitive dynamic that started back in Sabaody. Law being somewhat overshadowed by Luffy's achievements during Dressrosa and Whole Cake Island could have added to his motivation to learn awakening before the raid. The next thing to address is the possible inspiration behind Law's awakened abilities. Like mentioned at the start of the video, Law's new abilities seemingly have their root in his childhood. When he used it on Big Mom, Law stated that his new R-Room technique was inspired by Corazon's Devil Fruit ability, which allowed him to cancel out noise. It is also possible that Law's other awakened abilities were inspired by the Don Quixote pirates. When he was a part of Doflamingo's crew, Law was trained in swordsmanship by Diamante. Diamante himself possessed a devil fruit that allowed him to extend his sword, and he also used this ability when training Law. There is also an evident resemblance between this ability and Law's K-Room, where Law is able to extend his sword for what could be kilometers in length. Even though they might have been inspired by Rocinante and Diamante, Law's abilities are also far more potent than theirs were. The R-Room Law used on Big Mom expanded enough that it was able to silence an explosion that could have leveled Wano's flower capital. K-Room was also powerful enough to seriously injure a Yonko, whereas Diamante's attacks were blocked by someone like Kiro's. This possible connection to the Don Quixote pirates could also foretell what Law's future awakened abilities will be like. We already know that aside from Diamante, Law was also trained in martial arts by Lao Chi and in gunplay by Gladius. These skills may in fact be what Law will draw upon in the future when further training the Ope Ope no Mi's awakening. Law has also shown that he is willing to learn things from his opponents, such as when he used Haki to cancel out Doc Q's Devil Fruit ability, which harkened back to him being unable to use Shambles on the Yonko. In this sense, characters like Kaido, Big Mom, Smoker, Fujitora, and even Luffy could serve as another source of inspiration for Law. Whatever the case, Law's Devil Fruit arsenal is among the largest in One Piece, and there are a lot of different ways he could use his powers in the future. If you're interested in this type of character breakdown, you should watch this video, where I go over what fighting style other than swordsmanship Shanks could possess. I would also like to say that I appreciate the feedback from the last Law video, which partly inspired this video. Thanks for watching.